What's up everybody? I just wanted to make another controller review video. This one is a classic controller review. Here it is. It looks great, doesn't it? It's like a mixture of the NES and the Super NES controller. Of course, it's got the NES style aesthetics to it, kind of the sharp edges, and the SNES controller layout with the shoulder buttons and the 4 face buttons. I think it's great. It's of course a USB connection. And I use this thing for my Retro Pi. I plug it into the Raspberry Pi and I play a bunch of retro games on it, like Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, MAME. It's made by a company called Kiwitatá. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right at all. I mean, you guys be the judge. But I think iNext also makes a controller like this. I think it's the exact same controller, but a different brand. But yeah, I'm sure both are the exact same. There are some great things about this controller. It actually feels more comfortable than you would imagine. The corners are sharp like a regular NES controller, but they're not a 45-degree angle like a straight-up rectangle. If you look closely, you can see there's actually a slight angle there on both sides, so whenever you're holding it, it actually fits your hand quite comfortably. More so than, I would say, even a Super Nintendo controller. I think this is actually more comfortable, but you know, if that's an opinion thing, of course, it's not definitive by any means. There are some great things about this controller in that it is perfectly suitable for playing retro games. The button layout is fantastic. Like I said, it works perfectly on Windows and it works perfectly on, I presume, a Mac. I presume you can use this on a Mac as well. I don't see why not. I haven't tested it yet, but it also works perfectly on the Raspberry Pi. The only thing that there's two things that I don't quite like about it that I'm not thrilled with, but they're not deal breakers. They don't really make me want to throw this thing across the room or anything like that. It's just the shoulder buttons feel a little squishy. I guess that's kind of the best way I can put it. They depress and they work perfectly fine. It's just that they have to travel a pretty good distance, more than you would imagine when you press down on it. See how far that is? Like, it has to go a good like half a centimeter before it goes fully down. And shoulder buttons shouldn't be like that. They should just be a quick click and then that's it. Like just a little press and then a short click. That's it. They're not, you know, analog triggers, so there shouldn't be any distance traveled, like a long distance. Again, you know, not a deal breaker. It is just a little bit strange. That's all. The only other thing that I don't like is the fact that the USB cable is a mere 5 feet. They should have at least made it a good 6 feet, you know. But at the same time, 5 feet, it gets the job done, especially if you're plugging it into a computer or you're plugging it into Raspberry Pi and it's, you know, right next to you, then it's totally fine. What I do is I connect a USB extension cable to my Raspberry Pi. My Raspberry Pi is plugged into my TV, and at the end of the extension cable is a USB hub where I can plug in 2 of these things. And that's another thing, is that the price, the value is great. You get 2 of these controllers. I paid $16 for a pack of 2. And both of them, of course, work perfectly. My kids have used them, I've used them in a multitude of games, and it works just great. I have no problems at all. The buttons function normally. I mean, there's really no issues I have except for the cord length and the shoulder buttons, like I mentioned earlier. And I will say that the D-pad is it's actually a really great D-pad. It's not rough on your fingers. I remember playing Killer Instinct Gold on Nintendo 64, and I would be practicing with Jagos so much that I would get blisters on my thumb. Like, no joke, it hurt. But I was trying to nail those motions, and this one, I can see that being a lot more easy to do because the D-pad itself isn't textured at all. It's just smooth and it's kind of raised on the edges. It looks very, very nice. I try to take some good pictures so I can put it up here while I do this review, so hopefully they came out good and you guys can see it. But the D-pad is smooth and very responsive, and I think it's a great controller. For $16, you really can't go wrong. That comes out to $8 a piece for one of these things, and definitely worth it. Absolutely, especially if you're into older games. I mean, if you don't care about the fact that it doesn't look exactly identical to the classic SNES controller, and you're okay with other options, absolutely buy this one. I mean, I might do an update to this video like in a couple of weeks if it completely fails me, if both controllers are having problems, but I don't see that happening. They're pretty straightforward and they work great. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you like these videos, and I will see you in the next one.